Welcome back to Gold Derby. I'm Christopher Rosen. I'm joined by Joyce. And Joyce, it's Monday morning. The Golden Globes are back on TV, or at least in a reputable format. And we're going to talk about the nominations.
They're back so hard that NBC broadcast the nominations.
Couldn't watch it on YouTube.
No. But I really miss the YouTube stream from last year. I miss Snoop Dogg.
I didn't understand why it's not on YouTube, because even the Oscars stream on YouTube. But that's
they're so old school now. They want you to turn on your TV,
right?
NBC for.
So they're back. So we're gonna do film first, and then another video for TV, which is a delight. I can't wait for talk about TV.
This is our Froyo divide in honor of my friend Rachel. So,
but we're here for the nomination choice for film. I gotta say, I did not do smashingly, I would argue, but
did anyone? I want to know if anyone got supporting actress completely right.
My accuracy overall, it looks like, was about 69%, but my accuracy in supporting actress was 20%. So.
Amazing.
So let's go through. We'll go through the nominations and talk about this. And wow, the Globes are back. I'm just so excited. It's a real thing. So drama picture choice. The nominees were Avatar, Elvis, The Fabelmans, Tar, and Top Gun Maverick. I did not have Avatar in because we talked about this last week. It didn't seem like maybe they had seen it in time, but obviously they did.
I had last night, Sunday night, I put in Avatar for like 10 minutes and then I took it out. But I did keep James Cameron in for director. So I got 50-50 on that.
I didn't
because my feeling was that, as I was just telling you before we started recording, I dropped Woman Talking for Avatar for those 10 minutes. And my feeling was that Woman Talking was going to be like the One Night in Miami of this year, where we have like it's like a good movie and we have a lot of high expectations for it. And it doesn't quite perform to those expectations.
Yes.
And One Night in Miami didn't do that poorly with the HFPA, but Woman Talking did. So it performed worse.
Yes. We kind of been like, I feel like that's been in the air. At least we've been talking about it, how Women Talking maybe not has not gotten out of the starting gate really well, even though it premiered all the way back at Telluride. I saw the first screening of it at Telluride. Solid movie, really good, and just has been completely pushed aside by so many other movies, it feels like, even as it's coming out.
And then the release date got pushed back, so it's being released on the 23rd now instead of December 2nd. And then we talked like a couple weeks ago about how, we're all just assuming it'll win adapted screenplay, but maybe it won't, like kind of like Power of the Dog style last year, where we just thought this was locked.
We've been thinking it would win adapted screenplay for sure, and then also like seemed likely to be at least in competition for the SAG Ensemble Award.
And I do not have it in SAG Ensemble.
I don't think it'll be getting in either, and I don't know about this screenplay win. I mean, I definitely think Sarah Polley will get nominated because the category, as we've talked about, is barren at the Oscars. But not a great sign.
Yeah, if I had just kept Avatar last night, I would have gotten this 5 for 5.
I had the Woman King here. I'm actually a little surprised it didn't do better with the HFPA, but Avatar probably, in my mind, I'm gonna say Woman King was 6th, even though I have no proof of that, just to make myself feel better, Joyce.
Even though the Woman King got one fewer nomination overall than Woman Talking.
Yes. Today. I'm going for it. But it got a bigger nomination, I would argue, right? For Viola, at least. Not that they're all big nominations, I guess, Joyce. But for drama actress, this one I got 4 out of 5 as well.
I think most people got 4 out of 5.
Though I will say a lot of people, after we spoke last week about this, were stumping for Ana de Armas here, and she ended up getting in.
She has a lot of stands.
So the nominees for this category were Cate Blanchett, Olivia Colman, Viola Davis, Ana de Armas, and Michelle Williams. So we got 4 out of 5 there. I missed on Danielle Deadwyler, who you also probably missed on.
I think most people missed this.
And I thought she could have won this at the Globes. So the fact that she didn't get nominated after missing at the Spirit Awards, not a lot of good data points collecting for her at this point.
She won the Gotham Award, which is voted on by 5 people.
Yes, and she wasn't there, it seemed, to accept it, so she didn't really get the bump of visibility that the Gotham Awards provide.
Did you know who's a huge fan of her performance? Cher.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Marlee Matlin and Patricia Arquette.
Yes. Yeah. So she's got those 3 votes locked down.
But
Least.
a lot of other, so missed at the Spirit Awards, which were like, missed here. Was a runner-up, I believe, though, over the weekend at the LA.
Yeah, the LA's gender-neutral acting categories with 2 winners and 2 runners-up.
And she was one of the runners-up in the lead performance category.
Yes, with Michelle Yeoh.
So still, obviously, I think on the short list of people who could get an Oscar nomination in Best Actress, but
I mean, like if you're still predicting her for the Oscar win right now, you might want to reconsider that.
Yeah, I'm still considering her for a nomination.
Well, yeah, no, we're not talking about the nomination. Yeah, we're talking about the win.
The win.
I know a lot of people are still on the win vote for her. But I mean, this just kind of goes back to what we've always said about the movies, like the visibility issue. And like she has always, the possibility has always been a table of her just being a lone nominee if it doesn't get into song or costumes. And picture has felt like more of a reach as the weeks have gone on since the movie opened and did not do that well.
I think Till is a movie that reminds me a lot of other movies here that if it was the Oscars of like A Man Called Otto, frankly, it would be in this category too. If it was the Oscars of like the early 2000s or 1990s, it would be a Best Picture nominee probably, and like she would get a Best Actress nomination and maybe like 2 or 3 other nominations. But in the modern Oscar times, it feels like the push to get people to watch the movie is too great. There's too many options, and not only the subject matter, but just the idea that like this movie's came out, didn't make the biggest noise at the box office, and now is like gone, and people aren't really talking about it except for her. I don't know. I just feel like it's like a different time, and it's tough to break through.
I also feel like maybe we know the subject matter is not dark, but it's just serious, right? And it might not be the most like screener friendly, I guess. If you're just kind of like looking for something to watch, it might be lower on your list. But also I don't know how it's such an American story that I don't know if it plays that well to international voters, and they've added like 100 more voters from all around the world. So
we'll see. That was not the greatest day though for the Danielle Deadwyler stands out there.
No. But then everyone else. Well, I will say that like when they read like Anna de Armas's name, I was like, did Michelle Williams get snubbed? But then she was the next one.
Yes.
So I was like, oh, Danielle got snubbed.
Right. Yeah, I like this category. I mean, like I think Olivia Colman is definitely on the fringe for an Oscar nomination as well. I don't think that will happen, but like we said, you can't count her out. She's Olivia Colman. If I was doing the Oscars,
I would say the way this category shook out today, this is exactly what Viola Davis needed, basically. Because I mean, like we both had both of them in, Viola and Olivia, but the fact that, I mean, I would say for the Oscars, for sure, people are predicting Danielle ahead of Viola, right? Viola is like seen as the 5th nominee there. So the fact that like Viola still made it in over Danielle, the heavily predicted Oscar contender, like it's good for her, even though there's obviously no overlap between these memberships. But The Woman King has always been like, I think it's been underestimated this whole season, even though it's been a box office hit. And, it made AFI and NBR the past couple days.
I've become more bullish on The Woman King, Joyce, a movie I really liked that I was like kind of ran away from. Like
like I've had Viola in since I saw the movie, like this whole time. Like
I'm actually
The Woman King.
I had her in until Margot, and I took her out for Margot, who also got nominated here later. We'll talk about. I'm just gonna keep Margot Robbie in. I probably will move Viola in maybe for Danielle. I think that Margot would be like a pretty significant, like I think that is going to be such a noisy performance that I think she gets in over Danielle, and I think Babylon will make a bigger splash than Till, even though Babylon is more polarizing.
I mean, I'm making no changes. So
for drama actor, nominees were Austin Butler, Brendan Fraser, Joyce, Hugh Jackman for The Sun. We have a sighting of The Sun.
Incredible.
Bill Nye for Living, off his great LA Film Critics Association lead actor win, or lead performance win, excuse me. I'll get that right someday. And Jeremy Pope for The Inspection. I got 3 out of 5.
Same. I had Jeremy Pope in here for like months.
Me
And then
too.
like last week I dropped him for Gabriel LaBelle. My
Same.
other one was Tom Cruise.
And my other one was Will Smith. So we talked about will Tom Cruise get nominated, and would that his returning of the Globes have any bearing on that? I thought maybe he would get nominated because he returned the Globes. He's nominated as a producer, obviously, for Top Gun Maverick, so he still gets a nomination at this year's Globe ceremony. But also, I don't know that the performance is like a awards-worthy performance. Not
No,
to denigrate
that's been
Tom.
the whole thing where we're just falling backwards into predicting Tom Cruise for the Oscar nomination.
Yes. And it would be great. I love him in the movie and I love Tom Cruise, but it's like he's been a better actor, I would argue, or like more performance-based actor in a lot of other movies. And this is like a movie star playing Pete Maverick Mitchell. Maverick is his call sign.
This is your favorite movie of the year and you can't get his name right.
But yeah, I don't know if he'll get in. They went and I guess we'll see. I don't know what I would do for the Oscars. Like, I don't think I would put Hugh Jackman in for The Son as my Oscar for 5th spot. But I think the other 4, Austin Butler, Brendan Fraser, Bill Nye, and Colin Farrell, feel really set.
I don't think I'm going to do anything to my Oscar actor lineup. Like, I have Tom and Bill in the other slots anyway. So,
right. But I mean, if Tom misses at SAG, I'm sure you're going to do something.
Yeah, I mean, it just depends on like who would get in over him there too,
which is what we've had a tough time finding. Like, who's gonna get in here?
I don't overreact to things like immediately after like nominations and stuff. Like, I like to wait. I know you like to react right away.
Well, yeah, because I just think it like confirms what I'm expecting, and then I'm just like, I'm gonna move this.
I like to wait for like the bigger picture before I do anything. Like, I think about things, but I'm not impulsive like that.
Right. I would say if Will Smith wasn't going to get nominated here, like I said last week, I don't think that is going to happen anywhere else.
I just feel like that movie's been like that movie needed raves, really.
It had one rave.
And
one person.
It's just been a non-starter outside of that. So,
and I will say, like, I don't want to read too much into it, but like we've talked, like we get a lot of emails, Joyce.
Do we? You didn't make up any of them?
No, I'm saying in real life, like from like about the movies, we get a lot of emails.
Oh, you mean
not
from,
to
like,
us. So if you want to email us, slugfest@goldderby.com, you can do it. No, just in general from like publicists and all these different things. And I would say if you had to make a list of the amount of emails I got about emancipation this year, it would fit in one hand, probably.
I feel like I've gotten more since the release.
I've gotten a lot. I've gotten like 5 times the amount of emails about RRR as an example, which to me is just like means nothing, but it's like another data point where I'm like, well, they're at least really aggressively trying to email people about it, right? In the industry or the business or the journalism business or whatever we do.
It's just another screening. I mean, we know they were very calculated about the rollout of Emancipation.
Yes.
So there were not a lot of screenings for that.
Right. So. Next up, Joyce, I have Best Motion Picture, Musical or Comedy. I guess we could do that, and then we'll go back to supporting. I guess that's my list. At least I have.
That's usually the layout that they have. So yeah. I don't.
All right.
Because supporting combines both of them. So.
Sure. So Babylon, The Banshees of Inisherin, Everything Everywhere, Glass Onion, and your favorite movie of the year, Joyce, Triangle of Sadness.
I don't know why you think that's my favorite movie of the year. I know you don't like the movie, but I don't know why you think it's my favorite.
It's not. I know. I'm just busting your chops.
I know, but like, why do you think it's my favorite?
Just because you don't
like it, and I've been predicting it.
Yes.
I got it in. You didn't get it in.
I didn't. You know what I put in the last second, like an idiot? RRR.
Because you like to hope dick your faves, and you anti-dick movies you don't like.
Yes, it's true.
Yeah, I don't do that. Like, I don't even like Triangle of Sadness that much, but I'm like, they'll go for it.
So I got 4 out of 5, and I guess you got 5 out of 5.
That I did. So
nothing surprising here at all. But I just
like you had the menu right as your 5th.
I had the menu. I switched to RRR and Triangle of Sadness. Clearly, I didn't predict because I didn't want to, but I mean, it makes sense that it got in. So nothing here is that surprising.
The other thing with like, because I wasn't gonna drop Triangle of Sadness, but then I was like, because I didn't have it anywhere else. So I was like, is this gonna be the only nomination it would get? And I was like, I don't have room for it in screenplay, so my next option is for Dolly De Leon, and I did not put her in. And
Oh, Joyce, you would have had it. That was good logic.
I know, that's what I was thinking. This is what I did yesterday when I made numerous changes. So it was probably a wash with my changes.
So funny. Yeah, nothing to say here. I think Everything Everywhere remains like the strong favorite to win, obviously, and there you go.
Yeah, I think it'll win this, and then I think Banshees will win screenplay down later.
Yes. For film comedy actress, from musical comedy actress, Leslie Manfield for Mrs. Harris Goes to Paris, Margot Robbie for Babylon, Anya Taylor-Joy for The Menu, Emma Thompson for Good Luck to You, Leo Grande, and Michelle Yeoh for Everything Everywhere. And that's another one where I got 4 out of 5, Joyce, and I lost out on Leslie Manville because I kept Julia Roberts.
I got 5 out of 5 because I abandoned my faves, Julia and George. So
man, I can't believe I was
put
the
Leslie
one to go
back
down
in
with the
because I
Ticket
was like,
to Paradise
she's
show.
gonna get in.
I can't
was
believe
like,
it.
that's a very Globes pick.
It is. Again, pretty expected here. I don't think anybody was surprised by this list.
No. Yeah, like there was that, like, the not confusion, but just you know, like, thought that maybe they would put Keke Palmer or like Janelle Monáe in lead, but they didn't.
No.
So
there you go. I think Michelle Yeoh will win, seemingly.
yeah, a lot of these, like, winner wise, a lot of these are very obvious.
Yes.
So
for comedy musical actor, this was our favorite category going in, and I only got 3 out of the 5. Diego Calva for Babylon, Daniel Craig for Knives Out, or Glass Onion and Knives Out Mystery, Adam Driver for White Noise, Colin Farrell for The Banshees of Inisherin, and Ralph Fiennes for The Menu. So I got 3 out of 5.
I got 4.
I had Tom Hanks and Adam Sandler as my misses.
I don't know why you wouldn't put in Rafe.
I kind of just forgot about it. I'd rather do Hanks and Sandler. Like, I clearly thought The Menu was going to do well, but I don't know.
That's why it doesn't make sense.
I mean, I don't think Rafe is. I thought Tom Hanks. My thinking was Tom Hanks for A Man Called Otto is like the most Globesy thing in the world, and Adam Sandler was more of a Hope Diction, and I really don't like The Menu, and so there you go.
See, again, you're anti-dicting.
Yes,
see,
did not like it. I don't think it's good for me. So
Rafe is good in The Menu, though.
He's fine.
He's good. See, again,
he's probably better than Tom Hanks in A Man Called Otto, but.
I had Adam Driver in here a while ago,
Me
so
too.
I wish I kept
long
him,
time.
but then I would have gotten a perfect score here.
It's not that I don't like that movie, Joyce. It's just I was like, no one is talking about it, and I didn't really think that they would even have seen it or pay attention to it.
White Noise?
Yeah.
They have seen it. Like, it's been out. Like,
right. No, I know
Netflix
it's been out, but it's not like it just doesn't seem like, I guess it doesn't seem like a priority to see. Like, it is out now. Like, people could have seen it in theaters, probably a very small amount of theaters. It comes to Netflix, like we said, on the Lost Daughter slot on like December 30th or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I just felt like it's not, nobody's paying attention to it, so I thought they wouldn't either. But
yeah,
I'm
but like
fine
they
with
also
it
need to
in.
fill out these slots outside of Colin, Daniel, and Diego.
Right.
And really, like, Rafe. So
right.
Yeah.
Sandler, man, he was great. And Colin will win here, seemingly. Colin is steamrolling at this point, Joyce.
Colin is having a great week, and I don't want to get my hopes up because I would vote for him to win the Oscar, but I don't like to hope dick my faves.
Well, we've talked about
you, so
we are definitely not surprised it is shaping up to seemingly Colin versus Austin.
Yeah, well, to be fair, Austin has not won anything yet, but that's also not surprising because that's not a critic's performance.
And he's
won a lot of breakthrough awards, yes, in quotes. So, and it feels like people think they can like cover him there while giving Best Actor to someone else too.
And it's also, he was always seemed like a much more obvious televised winner. So
yeah, like his only loss, so to speak, that is surprising is NBR because they love Warner Brothers, and NBR is also more like mainstream.
Mm-hmm.
So it felt like he or Brendan could win there, and they just went with Colin too.
So I mean, Colin is definitely becoming like the Cate Blanchett of the actors.
I mean, I would love to see it. Like, it could still completely pivot in when the televised awards start. But I think the good thing is like he does have his own category here at the Globes, so he will still win. He's not like going up against Austin and Brendan at the Globes. So this is him, his award.
So
so he gets to make a speech.
So we'll have seemingly Colin and Austin would win at the Globes. That would be my picks now.
I've had Austin anyway. So
and then later that next week, though this is in January, we're now flash forward a month to January. Then that next weekend is the Critics' Choice Awards, assuming Colin and Austin will both be nominated there. In theory, Colin should win at the Critics' Choice Awards, Joyce, because he's the critical choice.
Yeah, but Olivia Colman didn't win, and they tied Lady Gaga and Glenn Close days after Glenn pulled off an upset at the Globes. So
maybe they'll tie Colin and Austin.
Maybe.
And then we'll have SAG Awards, I think would be like the big moment for one of these guys.
Well, BAFTA is first this year.
Right, but I don't think BAFTA matters as much because...
Well, it's more that like it's before, so then there's still a couple of days of SAG voting, but I don't think a lot of people vote at the end anyway.
Right.
But it's like Colin would have the edge there, but definitely. I also would not be surprised if Austin just needs to get in there, so he needs to be top 3 because the jury is not going to pick him.
No, he could be top 3 because it's
he could be top 3 because they're just gonna they just keep changing it every year. Next year will be top 4.
So if he's top 3 and he gets in, that's good. And then even if Colin wins there, and then SAG Awards, I think that you could make the case it's a coin flip basically.
SAG, I could see Colin and Kate losing because they're just not. It's not that their performances are like anti-SAG, but it's that they're up against people that are more SAG friendly.
Certainly.
So like Colin right now is giving Casey Affleck and Manchester by the Sea, who absolutely dominated Critics Awards, who also lost LA just like Colin did yesterday. And of the big award, the televised awards, he lost SAG to Denzel, who gave a very SAG friendly, yelly performance. Yes. And who had also never won SAG before and is a legend and an icon. And that was basically the only thing he lost.
Right.
So, and then he ended up winning an Oscar still. So I think Colin can still do that. And I think like the movie itself can also win those same 2 awards that Manchester won, actor and original screenplay.
Yeah, I think that seems pretty potentially likely.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm still sticking with Austin in first for now at the Oscars.
Yeah, I'm not doing anything. Again, I don't like to predict my favorites. So.
Next we have on my list. Oh well, we'll go to. I mean, I'm just gonna go to supporting. I apologies to Best Animated Motion Picture. It's next on the list of nominees I have, but we'll go to supporting. Hang on, supporting actress in any motion picture. Joyce. The nominees are Angela Bassett, Carrie Condon, Jamie Lee Curtis, Dolly DeLeon, and Carey Mulligan for She Said.
Your fave.
And I got 1 out of 4.
Very happy.
Yeah, I was happy because it didn't show up anywhere else. I got 1 out of 4. I got Jamie Lee Curtis, who I expect to win here because she's the queen of the Golden Globes.
She is. This is, I think, her 8th nomination with them.
Carrie Condon, I think we'll get into the Oscars, but I was just like, maybe the Globes, even if they like.
I don't know why you didn't. We talked about this last week. I was like, Banshees is such a Globesy movie.
I had Janelle Monáe for Glass Onion, which felt like really Globesy, and bore out as really Globesy, but not. Hong Chow for The Whale, which they just completely blanked The Whale, except for Brendan, it seems. Claire Foy for Women Talking, and Keke Palmer for Nope. I put in here.
I only got Carrie and Jamie Lee Curtis here. So yesterday, during my, I guess, like sort of epiphany about Women Talking potentially being One Night in Miami, I was like, I don't think both Jesse and Claire are getting in, but I don't know who to drop, so I just kept both of them, and they both missed.
So we talked about this like with the Oscars. I've been wanting to drop one of them, if not both.
You just don't know who.
But now I might just drop both because I'm actually not sure that there's enough passion for either of them to get one of them in at the Oscars. I know the Globes doesn't mean anything to the Oscars. A big blaring sign, but I'm like, it just feels like that's what this is.
Well, it's also like now, more like regionals are announcing too, and it feels like they're just alternating, like one of them gets in one and not the other, and like Jesse was also runner-up at LA yesterday with Brian Tyree Henry, and a lot of these awards are like doing like a give up, like
we're just going to give it to the ensemble. Like the Spirit Awards did that, right? They gave it the Altman Award, where it's like, you don't have to then we don't have to pick anybody from this. We're just going to say, hey, the movie's good.
Or, you know, if you're Boston, you tied with Jackass.
Right.
So.
Obviously. That's like how a lot of these places are doing it. And if the Oscars had an ensemble category, I think like that would be something to consider for women talking. But right now I'm like, I don't know. What if it just doesn't get in? Like this is a hilarious supporting actress nominations list that could very easily be the Oscars list.
I love this category so much, and this is the chaos that I want. So, like, more of this, please. Just like one or two people overlapping. It could just be Carrie, the only one. She could be like the Mark Rylance of this year, like 7 years ago,
and she could win.
Yeah. So,
yeah, I'm definitely gonna make a lot of changes to my supporting. I think I'm gonna make a lot of changes at the Oscars for my picks, because I just think I'm gonna take out the women talking women.
You're gonna take out both of them.
I might actually, yeah. I'll see what I could see putting them back, especially if like SAG, like whatever. But I'm not convinced that enough people are watching it or talking about it. And then also, I don't think even if they love it, they're going to be able to pick one or both. And
so I think their issue is, okay, so I think right now a win for the film in this category is probably out of the question unless things like really change. You know, I mean, like this, we still don't know who's the front runner here because it's like such a mess, which is great. But you know, like usually when there are double nominees, like, and one of them is the front runner to win, the consensus would have formed around that person already, you know. So, and we don't have that here. We don't know like any front runner at all, basically. And then even if you get like double noms in the category who are not front runners, like Emma Stone and Rachel Weisz for The Favorite, like they were still getting in places, you know, they're just like there to play runner up to Regina King. So like Claire and Jessie are not even getting in, or at least not even together in a lot of places too.
It just seems like the enthusiasm is not greater for any of them. It isn't an ensemble movie. It is like legitimately like an ensemble movie. And so to pick one or two out of your faves, I think is just too much of an ask, basically. And to imagine both of them getting in seems like wild, especially because the category, like I got 1 out of 4 here, 1 out of 5, and I don't think my picks are that crazy, right? Like I'm not making like wild leaps. You got 2 out of 5, and we're also pretty stable, I would say, certainly better than mine. But I'm like, you could fill out this category with any number of women, and I don't know if they would they take 2 out of the 5 spots at the Oscars then? I don't know.
So like I think like Carrie is safe.
So do you think Carrie could win? Carrie Condon, we're talking about here. Do you think she could win at the Globes based on how the movie performed here?
Yeah, I could see. I think it would be between her and Jamie Lee Curtis.
Or do you think it's her and Angela Bassett also?
I don't know if they would actually give Angela the win.
I mean, it did not show up really anywhere else.
Yeah, like I think this is kind of like, here's the nomination. And then I don't know. I mean, like in SAG, I can see the Carrie, Jamie Lee, and Angela getting in. I don't know about Dolly and Carrie Mulligan.
I could see Carrie. I mean, I love Carrie Mulligan. I could see her getting in if they have watched the movie. I don't know if enough people have seen the movie.
I think they will watch the movie.
I think I think Angela, Jamie Lee, and Carrie Condon are pretty set for SAG as well.
Yeah, like SAG is the most populist.
And then we're gonna get to the Oscars and have them as the 3 potentially that I'm gonna have to start predicting Angela Bassett at the Oscars choice, I guess.
Well, the thing with the SAG ballot too, the nomination process is not preferential like the Oscars, where you need passion. Like it's not ranked, so it's just whoever has the most appearances. So it doesn't matter if you're like number 1 or number 5 on someone's ballot.
That's true.
You just appear a lot.
I mean, Angela could easily be like this year's Bradley Cooper or Ben Affleck.
Yeah, like she could totally miss at the end. And yeah, I could see that happen. Like not to jump ahead, but like I put in Eddie Redmayne here.
Yeah, I almost did
last night.
And I
got him in, and I've had him in at SAG, and I don't have him at the Oscars. So I could see that happening to Angela too.
Right. You might be right. Let's do that. Next category. Supporting actor, Joyce. Brendan Gleeson, Barry Keoghan, Brad Pitt for Babylon, Ke Quan for Everything Everywhere, and Eddie Redmayne for The Good Nurse. I got 3 out of 5 here, but I'm not surprised at any of these nominees. So I don't know if that says anything or not. My other 2 were Judd Hirsch for The Fabelmans and Tom Hanks for Elvis, Joyce.
You
Which
just
maybe we'll
went
have to
all in
give
on
up. Maybe I'm gonna have to give up the ghost on his Elvis Pitt nomination, which I think would be music to some people's ears. I believe when I forget who was writing in was just like Elvis he's not going to get in for Elvis. I think it was David wrote that in.
For the Oscars, I don't have him at Oscars. I have him at SAG, I think, still for Elvis. Yeah, I didn't have Tom here. So like last night I dropped Brad for Ben Whishaw.
Okay.
And then I was like, I want to get Eddie Redmayne too. So then I was like, should I drop Ben no, I dropped Barry too. So then I was like, should I drop Barry or Paul Dano for Eddie? And I dropped the wrong person.
Wow.
So yeah.
I've had Paul Dano out in a lot of places. I think that the performance is too quiet, even though he's awesome in the movie. I don't think he's gonna.
Yeah, I should have just like
make
kept
it in the
Barry because I was like, it's such a Globes movie and they love Martin McDonagh. So I dropped the wrong person.
Having rewatched it last week, I would say Barry is amazing in the movie, and I'm gonna put him back in probably in the Oscars because I had dropped him out. He's so good in it, though.
He's great. All 4 of them. I don't know. Like Colin is my favorite of them, of the 4. But Barry.
Colin is probably my favorite, though. I think Carrie and Barry are also as good as Colin.
I would actually like no shade to Brendan Gleeson, but like I would rank him last of the 4.
Same.
They're still all 4 of them are still like light years ahead of a lot of things I've seen this year.
Yeah. So. No, it's true. I mean, Brendan Gleeson would definitely be last on my list, but he's like better than 95% of the other performances.
I think it's kind of I don't know. I've talked to like someone about this, his performance, Brendan Gleeson's in this, and I think it's just like the character. I think a lot of people don't understand his attentions and why he's like breaking up with Colin, you know, because his thoughts are kind of impenetrable even when he explains himself.
Right.
But anyway, yeah.
I mean, I think that's the point of the movie. So
yes,
it's like it is the character, but like he does a really good job. And actually he ends up generating a lot of sympathy for his character when I think another actor would not have any.
Oh yeah, totally. Like if doing the stuff that he does in that movie, if another actor did it, you would just be like, this is ridiculous. It would not work. Yeah.
Ke Quan won again at the LA Film Critics, right? This weekend. Did he win? Yeah.
He tied with tied. He was one of the two winners with Dolly. So
do you think Brendan wins here though, or do they is this the Ke Quan steamroll? He didn't win at NBR, which we were kind of surprised by.
Yeah, he lost. He took an L.
He took an L.
Brendan.
Yes, that was the one time Brendan won here so far.
But
he's been rubber stamped by both elitist critics groups in New York and LA as
yes. So yeah, he like Kate just needs National Society for the trifecta.
I mean, I still think Ke Quan's gonna win, but I would not be surprised if Brendan won. I guess I just think the TV.
I guess it just depends on how many they want to give to each Everything Everywhere All at Once and Banshees, because they each have guaranteed lead acting wins.
I think they'll both win lead actor. I think you're right. I think he'll win. I think Ke Quan will win supporting actor.
But then they could also give it to Jamie Lee Curtis in supporting actress or Carrie Condon.
So I think the two it could flip a coin are supporting actress and then screenplay. But I think it'll win screenplay.
I think Banshees will win screenplay.
And I think you could flip a coin too for best comedy musical. I mean, like if Banshees won that, I wouldn't be surprised. But I think Everything Everywhere would win.
Yeah.
So, a lot of fun.
They could each walk away with 3, right?
Yeah. So again, none of this has any bearing on the Oscars. That said, let's talk about how this affects the Oscars, or just in think about it. Fabelman supporting actors, Joyce. How do you think that'll shape out?
I haven't had Judd in for a while. Like I've only had Paul in.
Are you going to keep Paul in? See, I would pick Judd over Paul if I was picking one. I mean, I think Judd would get in.
No, like because I dropped Judd to put in Barry, so I'm just gonna have double Banshees and Paul.
See, I might have double Banshees.
I also have Ben. So that's my other.
Right.
And then obviously Key in first. So
I mean, I might have double Banshees and then not any Fabelmans actor then.
because none of them got in here.
No, because I think Judd Hirsch is the one who would get in. I just think the Paul Dano performance is too quiet, and I guess you could say it's like Jesse Plemons in Power of the Dog or whatever, and he's definitely better than Jesse Plemons in Power of the Dog and has more to do. But I don't know. I just don't think that it will break through with some of these like big, broad performances.
So you would have Ki Kwan, Brendan Gleeson, Barry Keoghan, Judd Hirsch, and then who's your fifth?
Probably Brad. I think Brad could get in. It's really good performance, and the movie hasn't totally flopped to the consternation of people who don't like it.
Well, it's also not out yet.
Yeah, but people have already made their opinions on it, so it doesn't need to.
They have, but I think the review embargo is this Friday, right?
I think so, and I mean it'll definitely. I mean, when I say flop, I mean like understanding that every movie flops at the box office now, Joyce. That there's no the word has no meaning now because every movie is a flop. So
no, but it's gonna,
except for Avatar and Black Panther.
I would say this movie has even though none of my friends have heard of it, it has more awareness than some other movies that are coming out in the next week. Besides Avatar.
Right. Yeah, I guess we'll see. I definitely think Barry will get in though at the Oscars now as well. I guess. Do you think he'll get in at SAG?
I don't know who I have at SAG. Banshees is serving individual noms, but no ensemble.
Exactly right. Isn't that funny?
So this is like, I mean, this is exactly why I didn't predict Power of the Dog at ensemble last year. It's like it's just not happening. It's another favorite, another marriage story.
Yeah, because it's like 3 or 4 actors that you're considering. You're not thinking about the rest of the ensemble.
And that's literally, it's not just because sometimes you have a case where in the film itself, it's the ensemble is larger, but because of SAG rules and the title cards, it's fewer actual nominees. But in Banshee's case, it's just the 4 of them really in the movie and in the title card case.
Yep.
So
for Best Director, Joyce, the nominees were James Cameron for Avatar, the Daniels for Everything Everywhere, Baz Luhrmann for Elvis, Martin McDonagh for Banshees, and Steven Spielberg for The Fabelmans. I got 4 out of these 5. I had Todd Field for Tar instead of James Cameron for Avatar.
I also have 4 because I put in James last night, but I kept Sarah. So
who'd you take out?
Was it Todd? I guess I
okay. I don't even you had Baz Luhrmann in though.
No.
So then that's who you missed, I guess.
Well, yeah, because I had Sarah instead.
Right.
I had James. I put in James.
Right. No, I know that. I was like trying to figure out who you put out for what your odd one was. Okay.
But I never had Boz in, if that's what you're asking.
Okay. Do you think Boz can get a director nomination at the Oscars? Or will he get a director nomination?
I can see him getting DGA before Oscars. I could see a lot of these people getting DGA and then not getting at the Oscars because they're so snobby.
I mean, I think Todd Field will get in at the Oscars. I just feel like it's too much of the auteur movie to not get in.
Yeah, and the thing is, they don't really have, like, basically Tar is not their only, but the top, like, highbrow pick.
Certainly, both critics groups have said Tar is the best movie. I'm sorry, LA tied it with Everything Everywhere. It's just wonderful.
Yeah, this is
Gravity
their 4th tie in Best Picture. Just
I think we've talked about this, and you could have Steven Spielberg is the only one you felt comfortable predicting. At this point, I would say Steven Spielberg is still the only one I would feel comfortable predicting for the Oscars. But I think the cases for Martin McDonagh and the Daniels are increasing every day.
I still don't think I have Martin in at the Oscars, even though I want to put him in. Who did I have in at the Oscars? I don't remember. Imagine if he got snubbed again for another top 3 movie.
That's why I put him in, because it's a top 3 movie. I guess he could get snubbed, certainly, like he did for 3 Billboards. I feel like the Daniels will get in.
I feel like I need to just drop Sarah now. Yeah.
I mean, I definitely would drop Sarah from mine if I still have her in. I don't think Baz Luhrmann would get it. I think if I was going to, right now, if you asked me to predict the directing Oscar nominations, it would be Spielberg, the Daniels, McDonagh, Todd Field, and James Cameron. And I would not have Baz Luhrmann in.
Yeah, I wouldn't predict Boz for the Oscars. I could see him getting in at DGA and then not getting in the Oscars.
Yeah.
Here, I'll drop Sarah right now from the Oscars.
Who are you gonna put in?
I'll put in Martin.
Nice.
Because I've always wanted. Oh no, what did I just click? That's not. Oh, I accidentally clicked off. I hate these ads. I accidentally clicked off Todd. Okay.
I mean, I feel like Todd missing here means nothing. I think that at all, and I
No.
think he'll easily get in at the Oscars, honestly, in the end. But
Martin, okay.
I'll put Martin in too. I have SS Rajamouli. I don't want to drop him because I just love having him there, but I do think McDonough will get in, so I'll drop him in too. I mean, I think, like you said, like the fact of the matter is, and it doesn't mean anything because we've seen the top movies don't necessarily correlate to director at all. So maybe it's flawed thinking, but at the same time, like it's clear that Everything Everywhere and Banshees and The Fabelmans are probably top three, or maybe, I mean, The Fabelmans maybe isn't, but at least Spielberg is going to get in.
Well, I mean, in terms of Best Picture, like I think you'd say the top three are like Everything Everywhere, Fabelmans, and Top Gun Maverick, but Top Gun Maverick is probably not going to get into director.
No. I was talking to one of my friends and we were this week, and he was saying this, and I kind of agree, and it wouldn't be awesome. Top Gun Maverick winning at the PGA Awards.
Oh no, I think that's entirely possible.
So then if it wins a PGA, what do you think would win a SAG Ensemble? Everything Everywhere?
I think so, yeah. It would be PGA, Top Gun Maverick, SAG Ensemble, Everything Everywhere, DGA, Spielberg.
And then going into Best Picture like that. I mean, I think Top Gun Maverick, by March, I'll have Top Gun Maverick winning. I'll just talk myself.
I mean, I can't believe you don't already.
So. Can't predict my face, Joyce.
You just anti-dick the ones you loathe. So.
But
you haven't. It's because you haven't talked to anyone from Top Gun Maverick yet. That's why.
It's not just that I anti-dick the ones I loathe, because there are movies I definitely don't like that I have getting in, and that I've done interviews for probably too in the past. But I would say, I don't know. I didn't put Ralph Fiennes in. I just didn't think
you anti-dick the ones that are like fringe contenders anyway. So you care less about them getting in because you don't feel like you're obligated to predict them.
That's right. For like Ralph Fiennes, I just didn't care about.
Yeah, because he's not going to be a factor, so that's why you're anti-dick.
And I didn't. And
on paper he makes so much sense.
I definitely think he makes sense, and we talked about it when you made the pick. I was like, it definitely makes sense. I would also say that, like, in my defense, the comedy actor here had more potentially good nominees than comedy actress. Anya Taylor-Joy was like, there's like 3 people in that category you could take seriously as a nominee, and Anya Taylor-Joy was clearly going to get in.
Yeah, but it's also like he's Ralph Fiennes. Yeah, and that I mean, like before that movie that movie was seen, like people assumed like he was supporting, and it's like no, he's actually the lead of the movie.
I had him in as supporting actor. Remember before, way back when
when everyone thought like Nicholas Hoult was the lead of this movie, it's like no, he's actually the supporting character in the movie.
All right, next up we have screenplay, Joyce. The nominees are the Todd Field for Tar, the Daniels for Everything Everywhere, Martin McDonough for Banshees, Sarah Polley for Women Talking, and Steven Spielberg in The Cush for Fabelmans.
5 for 5 for me.
I went 4 for 5 because I had Glass Onion in instead of Tar.
In the tank for Glass Onion.
I am. It's a great movie. Why wouldn't I be? It's so good. But I was kind of, I mean, I know the original did not get nominated here. I don't think either. Or did it? No, it did. I think it did get nominated, right? Did Knives Out get nominated at the Globes?
For
screenplay? I thought it did.
No,
it didn't. It didn't.
No, because it only have one. Yeah, Quentin won.
Right, but was it nominated? No. It just. But I know that's why it makes sense that it wouldn't have been nominated.
It got the 2 acting nominations for Ana de Armas and Daniel Craig.
Right. And this time it just got the 1 acting nomination and then the picture.
And even though their second potential nomination was in a completely unsettled category.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, no notes here. This is great. Todd Field for Tar, I'm fine with, and like I had him in for director, so like obviously I thought that they would like that movie in some capacity, but they went with the screenplay instead of him as director, which leads me to believe he was probably 6th for director.
Yeah, I mean it's kind of because you don't like. I don't think we'll be seeing the Elvis screenplay anywhere. So
You don't think?
no.
What about Top Gun?
But that movie is very much a Baz Luhrmann movie.
Yeah.
So
and then for animated features, that's the last one we have in the prediction center, and then we'll go through the other categories that we didn't get to predict. But animated feature, the nominees were Pinocchio. Sorry, let me find it. I have it. Hang on. Pinocchio Inu-Oh, which is a G Kids movie that I did not have in. Marcel the Shell, Puss in Boots, and Turning Red. I got 4 out of 5.
same.
I had My Father's Dragon, but the G Kids movie gets it. Sure.
I think I had Wendell and Wild. Yeah. So.
And that wasn't the only place Pinocchio showed up, Joyce, because in score, the nominees were Carter Burwell for Banshees, Alexander Desplat for Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio, Hildur Gudendottir for Women Talking, Justin Hurwitz, my boy, for Babylon, and John Williams for The Fabelmans. This is a great category.
We have a lot of great scores this year, and every time I look at it in my Oscar predictions, I'm like, I don't even want to touch this because I already know I'm leaving out so many good scores and so many good people that I would want to nominate. But yeah, this is a solid lineup.
This is a solid lineup, and I think I have John Williams for The Fabelmans I have in, and Hildur I have in for Women Talking. I think those two are pretty set at the Oscars.
I haven't Desplat in Oscars, so
I haven't had Desplat in, but I've had Carter Burwell in because I love that score for Banshees.
I have him in too.
And I have Justin in for Babylon because it's an amazing score. So I have 4 of these 5, I think, for the Oscars. And then I think my last one is maybe back to Black Panther, though I'm not sure. I don't think that would get in.
Oh, you dropped Bertel?
I did drop Bertel, yeah. Let me see what I actually have there.
I think my 5th one is...
You have Desplat and who else?
I think my last one is Reznor Ross for Empire of Light.
Oh, nice. I mean, that's
a good score.
Yeah, I have all of these, and then I have Black Panther as well. I'll tell you what, I know the Black Panther reasoning because it's a sequel and it's like he won, so like they're not gonna like it's like a repeat. But I interviewed him. I interviewed Ludwig, Joyce.
Well, that's why you put him in.
It's not why I put him in, but I'll tell you what, I had to listen to the score a lot before interviewing him. I didn't have to, but I wanted to, right? So I could just be like it. And I got to say, none of this really resonated with me watching the movie, but like listening to his score, it's incredibly detailed and so much different than the original one that I feel like he should get in because of the work on the score. It's like really good. It's like incredibly good, but I don't know if he'll get in. I could see Desplat getting in for Pinocchio. It seems like an easy one. And I could see the Oscars kind of just mirroring the same 5 that the Golden Globes did here. Leaving out Empire of Light, Avatar, Batman, Woman King, Glass Onion, RRR, She Said, etc., etc., etc.
Yeah, this could very well be the Oscar 5.
Yeah, definitely.
So.
And then for Song, Joyce, they nominated Carolina from Where the Crawdads Sing by future Searchlight filmmaker Taylor Swift, Ciao Papa for Pinocchio, Desplat, a double nominee this year, Hold My Hand, hell yeah, from Top Gun Maverick, Lady Gaga, Lift Me Up, the Rihanna song with Ludwig and Ryan Coogler as co-writers, and Not To
Get that Oscar somehow. So
and Not To from RRR, which is a great moment. Again, I could see this very easily mirroring the Oscars list. I don't know.
Not a very strong category in general.
Well, there's like a lot of big names.
I would vote for Not To.
I mean, Not To is great, and in the use in the movie is amazing.
Yeah, that's what I'm all about. Like, I don't want an end credit song.
I mean, if I was picking songs that I really love, it's Not To and Hold My Hand is like legitimately great, and it's great in Top Gun. So I think that could get in. I don't think like I would be shocked if Carolina got in at the Oscars.
No, the Globe. This is the nomination here is not surprising because I think it's her 4th nomination at the Globes. Yeah. But the Oscars are not that they're not Swifties.
No, and I don't think I have not watched Pinocchio yet. It's on Netflix right now. I could watch it. Maybe I'll watch it tonight.
I like that song. It's a cute song.
I've heard very polarized opinions about the music, though. At least in my circles, some people like.
I mean, you just have to. It's just like I think it works well in the context of the movie. Would I listen to this song on my Spotify? No.
Right.
Probably. So
I think if I was betting for the Oscars, I think 3 of these would likely get in. I do think Lift Me Up will get in because of Rihanna and Black Panther, and the way it's used in the movie is emotional as an end credits song.
Yeah, it's used as an end credit song, very emotional.
Hold My Hand and Not To, I think are pretty set also. And then I don't know what else. I mean, there's a lot of like famous people who have songs, like Billie Eilish, right? Doesn't she have another one? And
Yeah,
LCD
there's
Sound
a lot of
System.
pop stars, The Weeknd and Avatar. It could be a very pop star heavy lineup. I don't think it will be. Obviously, Diane Warren is back
Right.
with another song, honorary Oscar winner Diane Warren.
I mean, she could definitely get in. Wouldn't it be funny if she wins this year an Oscar?
I mean, that's happened before. It happened to Spike.
Yep.
So,
I mean, will RRR win here at the Oscars? That would be pretty cool. Not to. The reason I would argue it could win.
But like my fear is that it's another Husavik situation.
So we talked about, we were very in the tank for Husavik, and we were like, oh, when you watch, like, it's the only one, if you go on the Academy website and hit play on the songs to hear
it's
what
like
they're
it's
like
actually
in the movie. It's actually in the movie. So Not To is an absolutely show-stopping musical number in RRR, like truly amazing stuff. So if people are watching it, they're going to be like, damn, this is cool. I love this, but it didn't work.
I do think people are watching the movie, so that's.
I do think people are watching the movie too. So. And I think you could get in for Best Picture. You've gotten me on that train. You kind of have talked about that a lot. And I think it could be a 10th nominee, probably.
I know. I feel like I'm so uneasy about having 3 sequels in Best Picture. And I'm like very close to dropping Glass Onion.
So I might be too. I think I have it at 10th right now. My 10 for Best Picture. We don't need to do the Oscars, but then we'll wrap up here and then come back for TV, I guess, Joyce. But my 10 for Best Picture right now at the Oscars, which I don't think I would change right now based on anything that happened at the Globes. But I have Fabelmans, Everything Everywhere, Top Gun are the top 3. Then I have Elvis and Banshees 4 or 5. I have Avatar in 6th, Tar in 7th, Women Talking in 8th, Woman King in 9th, and Glass Onion in 10th. I've dropped Babylon, and I don't have RRR.
Yeah, so I have Babylon and Glass Onion at 9 and 10. And I'm like, I want to drop one of them for like RRR or Woman King. And I don't know. I feel like Babylon could be just one of those movies that the Oscars nominate doing well so far. Outside of the Globes, obviously, where it was expected to do well, but it didn't make AFI or NBR.
So that's why I took it out, because it doesn't seem like potentially.
But it also
just
bad. Seems like something that could get in a field of 10, like carried on by the text.
Certainly, I think it's going to get I do think even if it doesn't get Best Picture, I still have it getting 6 or 7 nominations, right? Because I have 2 acting nominations and I have sound. I would put it in, even though the shortlists aren't.
Yeah, it's it
score.
Feels like it could be like this year's Nightmare Alley. Nightmare Alley was not polarizing.
That's the difference.
But it was just clearly carried by the text, and so. Yeah, I've considered dropping that, and I've considered dropping Glass Onion because I'm like, I have 3 sequels in here.
So Woman King, I think, is pretty solid, I would say, for a couple of reasons. Like you said earlier, it is a hit, or at least was a hit, right? Especially compared to some of these movies that we've seen lately, that's not something that is to sniff at this point, right? People saw Woman King. B, it came out much earlier, and I think we've talked about this too, having time to get people to watch it and kind of like it. Probably will pay off this year, right? A September-ish release for this. I think it's going to get a nomination to the PGA Awards, and I think it'll get a SAG Ensemble nomination too. So then I'm like,
I haven't had a SAG.
So then I'm like, okay, then I think that would easily lead to an Oscar nomination. If I put how stable do you think Women Talking is?
I think it's sort of similar to Tar in that's an option for the higher brow voters.
Yes,
it's weaker than Tar.
I think the problem is Tar is much more critically acclaimed.
It is, but I think there's room for both of them, right?
Definitely, and I have it in, but I mean, I used to have Women Talking in the top 5. Now I have it at 9th.
I think most people had it in the top 5. So.
No, and with Glass Onion, Joyce, we love the movie. I absolutely love it. It's one of my 5 favorite movies of the whole year, and I would love to see it get in. I do think that from a visibility standpoint, it kind of backfired only putting it out for a week. I know it doesn't really matter, and like everybody's seeing it,
It's
and
gonna
they're
be
still doing
seen
events,
when
but
it hits
like
Netflix.
it just feels like it should. If imagine, would the conversation be different if it was like still in theaters and like everybody was still talking about it incessantly, instead of now having talked about it incessantly for like a week and now waiting another 2 weeks for it to come out?
It is awkward because you really can't have a conversation publicly about the movie, like talking spoilers,
And if you look at
because
like, not
it's
that
not out
legacy,
wide
right,
yet.
and not that legacy media matters certainly, but like if you look at like how like every week it feels like there's another article about Tar or something that people are like focusing on, right? Like about these movies, just to keep them in the conversation. Like even if Tar was a another quote unquote flop, right? Glass Onion, like you said, nobody's really writing about it or talking about it because you're
Tar
not
has
allowed
one
to.
more impact because of Lydia Tar. She is an icon. So
Right. But I'm like, I think if Glass Onion was still out and people were able to like dissect it and talk about it and
yeah,
do all
because
these
you would,
things.
if this were a traditional release, like the first Glass Onion,
Right.
By Lionsgate, like by Cyber Monday, because they were both like Thanksgiving weekend releases, this one for just a week. By the Monday after, you would be able to talk about it and talk about the spoilers and twists and everything. But you still have, like, now you still have to keep a lid on it, and until it hits Netflix next week.
Right.
But like, it will be seen, it will be watched, it'll be a huge hit. We know
And
that.
maybe I'll like eat crow because I mean, like I still have it in. Like I said, I love it. So I would love to see it get in. But I'm like, and maybe when it comes back to Netflix in 2 weeks or a week and a half or whatever, and then everybody's talking about it at the right time, and it ends up being like a great strategy because like people are going to be tired of talking about everything else, and they've already seen Avatar, and Babylon is polarizing, and a woman talking doesn't really have any kind of like great cultural film twittery thing, and then all of a sudden everybody's talking about Glass Onion, and voters are like, oh man, I guess I really gotta consider Glass Onion, that kind of thing, like through osmosis.
Yeah, like, it's, I don't know if like when they're voting, they're just thinking about like, oh, I'm voting for like 3 sequels. Like, I think it can get in, but it's just kind of,
I don't think they do. I don't think it would matter, but I think it could get in. I don't think if it doesn't get in, I don't think it's because it's a sequel. I think it's just because
like, it's the weakest of the 3 sequels that I have in.
I also think because like, so like Avatar, we're gonna say easily would get in, like similar like what you were saying to Babylon, because of the crafts, right? Like it's gonna get like a lot of below the line attention.
Yeah, and it's also just, speaking of legacy, like, it's just the James Cameron
Right.
behind it.
And
It's a,
Top Gun is the Mad Max of this year, or Matrix or whatever, and it's going to get like a ton of attention below the line, and people love the movie, and it was the biggest hit, and it's clearly going to get in. So then Glass Onion, not a lot of below the line support, even though I think I would argue it should be for like production design and editing and score. If I was doing my own personal list, it would be in all 3 of those. Not as much, it's not like an Avatar or Top Gun in that area. And then it's an awesome movie, but is it going to have enough ones to offset like an RRR, which could have like a lot of ones, a small but mighty amount of ones?
I don't know. Like, it's also, it's a crowd pleaser, just like RR and The Woman King too. So if
Yeah,
you're just looking to like fill it out that way.
it is. I think RRR could have more international flavor as well, like because it's not an American movie.
Yeah, I mean, I would feel better about it if it was India's pick.
Right. But I could
Yeah.
also say, does that mean
I don't even know how many voters are aware that it's not India's pick.
it seems like a lot of people aren't aware that it's not India's pick? I wonder too if people are like, oh, it's not India's pick, will they then be like, oh, I gotta put it, like we said, maybe that actually helps it because it would have been easy
Yeah, there
international
is
feature
that
nominee.
a very illogical thinking with documentaries and non-English films and animated films. Is like, I could take care of them here.
Yes.
I don't
And
have to vote
we've
for it.
seen that a lot. So then if they can't take care of RRR in the international category where they feel like it should be, then maybe they will just put it in for Best Picture. You could see that happening. It would be cool. I don't know. I have Knives Out right at the end. It's Knives Out and women talking are like hanging on like this.
Didn't you have Glass Onion in like 4th last week?
Yeah, because it's a great movie, but obviously it doesn't matter if it's great. It just is like what people are going to pick and like what we're.
Well, it's not that. It's just also like
data points.
The context around it.
The data points around it are like not. Yeah. When you're putting them in the beginning, when there's no data, it's just like I could put like what I think is the best. I mean, I would have She Said in like second. It's not even.
You did have She Said in second.
I did. It was great. It's a great movie.
And but again, that's why I don't like. I like that movie a lot, but I'm like I don't know about this, and I put it in 10th for like a week.
Well, now it's gone from mine too. So that's the Globes, Joyce. We did it. The Globes are when are they, Joyce? January.
They're Tuesday, January 10th, and then the very next morning is SAG nominations.
Wow,
so it's gonna be great.
That's awesome. So we could do a post Globes podcast, and then next morning SAG nomination.
Why even sleep? Just pull an all-nighter.
Great. All right. Well, let's we'll come back and talk about TV, Joyce, where my favorite show, The White Lotus, was represented.
Did you watch the finale?
Oh, hell yeah. It's the best. White Lotus is better than most of the movies we talked about today. And I don't even like TV that much, but it's awesome.
I know. You're such a TV hater.
I'm such a movie guy. Mr. Movie Guy over here. Mr. Movie.
You're the people who would be like, this film is a 10-hour movie, which I hate. One of my biggest pet peeves.
I don't want a 10-hour movie, but I do want a 3-hour movie.
No, but that's how filmmakers describe it when they're encroaching on TV.
Right.
No, put some respect on TV. It's its own medium. If you want to make a movie, make a movie. If you're going to make a TV show, respect the medium and make a TV show.
I mean, I agree with that, Stim. That's good. We'll end it there. Joyce, I couldn't have said it better myself. All right. We'll see you later. Bye.